At the beginning of the story, we see a cunning thief named Morris. The police have caught him for a bank robbery case and are taking him to be imprisoned for life in the world's most secure prison, Alcatraz. Alcatraz is a prison that was built on a small island in the middle of the ocean. This means that even if a prisoner breaks out of the jail, they still cannot escape because water blocks their path ahead. That's why this prison had the status of being the world's most secure prison. Only the world's top criminals were kept here. But soon this prison's reputation was about to be ruined, because a cunning thief named Frank Morris had now entered this prison, who had already escaped from jail several times before. But this time Morris was a bit scared because this prison was extremely secure. However, Morris had absolutely no intention of spending his entire life here. He wanted to escape from this prison as soon as possible. As soon as he enters the prison, Morris starts thinking about escaping. After a full body check, Morris is locked in a cell. A guard comes and tells Morris, "Welcome to Alcatraz," and here begins the real story. Suddenly a bell rings and all the cell gates open automatically. Officers call the prisoners outside. This prison's discipline is also very strict. Prisoners have to follow rules of cleanliness and returning to their cells on time. Everyone comes in line wearing the same uniform for breakfast. In front of Morris is a prisoner named Litmus. Morris asks, "I didn't even get a fork. How am I supposed to eat noodles now?" Litmus tells him, "Hey, this isn't your home. Just quietly eat what you've been given." Then a dangerous prisoner named Wolf starts teasing Morris. Every prisoner in the jail was troubled by Wolf. He had his way with every prisoner here and also had many rape cases against him. This prison houses extremely dangerous criminals, one worse than the other. Here Litmus asks Morris for some food, and Morris gives him his plate. When Morris looks under the table, he realizes that Litmus isn't eating the food himself, but is feeding it to a mouse. At night, a guard takes Morris to the warden. When Morris reaches the warden's office, the warden tells Morris, "I know you're very sharp-minded and very intelligent too, but what good is all that here? Many like you have come and gone, but no one has survived. Prisoners here follow very strict rules. Once every 2 months, someone can come visit you, and that too only if I'm in a good mood. The warden is a very strict person who gives prisoners very strict punishment for even the slightest mistake. The warden says, don't even think about escaping from here. Otherwise, you'll be torn to pieces." To which Morris replies, "No, sir, with you here, who would think of escaping?" But in reality, from the very first day, Morris had already started planning to escape. During this time, Morris seizes the opportunity and steals the warden's nail clipper. Though it was a very small thing, Morris knew that even this small nail clipper could be very useful in a prison like Alcatraz. As soon as Morris returns to his cell, he hides the nail clipper in a Bible. The next day in the bathroom, Wolf starts bothering Morris again. But this time, Morris wasn't going to let him go. Now Morris shows his true form and grabs him and beats him thoroughly. After beating Wolf, Morris now has a different reputation throughout the prison. Everyone started fearing Morris. After this, Morris is assigned work in the library. There he meets a man named English. He's a senior prisoner in this jail. English was also sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of 2 people. He had spent half his life in this prison and knew every corner of it. He knows everything about the prison. He also knows that Morris and Wolf had a fight this morning. He gives Morris some books that Morris has to deliver to each prisoner's cell. In the next scene, they show an open area where prisoners are playing some game or another. Then he meets an artist named Doc who is making his own painting. Doc is a completely simple, straightforward, and decent person who has been serving his sentence here for many years. He was very fond of painting and spent most of his time doing it. Doc used to say that in a prison like Alcatraz, anyone can go crazy. But because of his painting, his mind has remained normal until now. Morris asked Doc, "Why did you paint this flower in this painting?" "There's nothing like that on your shirt." Doc says, "This is my happiness, which exists only in the painting, not in my mind." After that, when Morris looks to his right, he sees English above. Morris goes toward English. When Morris gets close to him, his followers stop Morris. Then English signals that he's one of our own. "Let him come." Morris goes and sits near him and immediately brings up what's on his mind. Morris asks him, "Will you help me escape from here?" Hearing this, English bursts out laughing. "Look, son, this isn't just a prison. This is all our grave. To get out of here, we first have to die. Only then will our dead bodies reach the cemetery. Let's say you even climb these big walls and then cross the dangerous forces, and by some magical power, you escape from hundreds of guards and get out of the prison. Even then you won't be able to escape because the ocean will block your path ahead. So don't waste time and quietly serve your sentence. At least you'll stay alive. But Morris was determined. He wanted to escape from this prison at any cost. That night, an officer tells Morris that from tomorrow you've been assigned carpentry work. You'll also be paid 50 cents per hour. Morris immediately agreed to this work because he thought he might find some tool there that could help him escape. The next day, Morris asks Litmus about the way to escape from here. Litmus says, "Oh, it's very easy. Every cell has an air vent. Through it, you can reach the roof. From there, maybe you can escape." And smiling at Morris's words, he walks away. Then Doc warns Morris that Wolf is coming toward you. Wolf comes to attack Morris with a knife. Morris wraps his coat around his hand and starts fighting him. Meanwhile, a guard comes to stop them, but Wolf attacks the guard with the knife too. Now the situation gets worse, and the watchtower guard starts shooting. Only then do Morris and Wolf stop fighting. Morris didn't know there was also a guard in the watchtower. He now starts noticing every detail of this prison one by one. The guards take Morris and Wolf to D Block. There, prisoners are kept in darkness and tortured all night. This was a cell no prisoner wanted to go to. Before going, Wolf threatens Morris. "Son, your death will be at my hands." That night, Morris has to endure various types of torture, which severely worsens his condition. After spending 2 weeks in this dark cell, they bring him back to his cell. There, Litmus sends Morris a note via his pet mouse, which reads, "Welcome back, Morris." One day, a new prisoner named Charlie arrives, who is placed in the cell next to Morris. Morris and Charlie quickly become friends. Morris then introduces him to his other friends as well. At that very time, the warden, without telling anyone, checks every prisoner's cell. When he goes to Doc's cell, there are many paintings Doc has made. The warden is amazed that day by day, his paintings keep increasing. Doc had also made a painting of the warden. Seeing it, the warden starts smiling. But who knows why? The next day, the warden orders the guards to throw out all the paintings made in Doc's cell. The warden's decision completely broke Doc from inside because Doc was living only for his paintings. He loved each and every painting he made because here his only happiness was this. And even that was taken away from the poor man. Morris tries to console him. "It's okay, they were just paintings. You can make more." But Doc couldn't come out of this shock. The next day, seeing him, Morris tells the guard, "Please keep an eye on Doc. He looks very troubled. He might harm himself." Then the guard tells Morris, "You mind your own business." Doc is also assigned carpentry work along with Morris. Then Doc secretly places something in Morris's pocket. After that, he calls a guard and cuts off his 3 fingers with the axe given for carpentry work, saying, "I don't need fingers that can't paint." Saying this, he starts screaming. Then the guards take him away. Morris sees that Doc has put the same flower in his coat that he had painted. Perhaps he wants to tell Morris that these people have snatched my happiness from me. Morris picks up Doc's cut fingers, puts them in a box, and looking at the guard says, "Go give this to your warden. He'll be very happy to see it." The next day, Morris is sitting in his cell. Then he sees a cockroach going inside the air vent, which makes him realize there must be some way out from here. Meanwhile, English comes and tells him that Doc cut his own fingers because his permission to paint was revoked. That's why he got fed up and cut his fingers. Learning this makes Morris very angry. The next day in the dining hall, the warden asks Morris, "Why are you supporting this Doc so much?" He says, "It's nothing like that." Saying this, Morris goes back and sits at the table. There he meets 2 brothers, John and Clarence, but Morris talks to them as if he knows them from before. John and Clarence were actually in Morris's gang in another prison. Now escaping from prison seemed easier to John because both these brothers were sharp-minded like Morris, and now all 3 started planning to escape from prison. In the afternoon, Charlie's girlfriend comes to meet him. On the other side, English's daughter has come to meet him. As soon as English sees his daughter, tears come to his eyes because his daughter had grown up quite a bit in his absence, and English deeply regretted not being able to see his daughter's childhood. On the other side, Charlie's wife tells him that your mother is very sick and the doctors say she won't survive more than a few months. Hearing this, Charlie also starts thinking about escaping from Alcatraz, and then a guard comes and says the meeting time is over. Now Charlie is very worried. That night he tells Morris, "If you make a plan to escape from here, include me too." The next day, Morris, Charlie, John, and Clarence have a meeting. Then Morris tells them that every cell's air vent opens onto the roof. And secondly, this place is in the middle of an ocean filled with salt water, which has weakened the walls. I have a nail clipper and I've already started digging. If I dig little by little and make a small tunnel to reach the roof, then after checking that place, I'll know how we can escape from here. John asks, "At night, if the guard find out you're not in your cell, won't they be suspicious?" Then Clarence says, "I have a solution to this problem. There's a barber I know her who cuts prisoners' hair. He can supply us with hair, and using it, we'll make a dummy head and place it on the bed. So even if we come out through the wall tunnel and are on the roof, the guards won't be suspicious because fake heads will be placed on our cell beds." But the issue was still stuck at the point that they'd get out of prison, but how would they cross the ocean water? Morris tells John, "Look, I'll need your help with this. You work in the clothing department. You'll find raincoats made for police officers there. So steal some raincoats and give them to me. We can make a two-boat and life jackets from them and cross the ocean." Here, Charlie says, "Brother, give me some work too. I also want to help you guys." Morris tells Charlie, "When I'm digging the ventilation grill, you keep watch so no guard sees us, and when you dig, I'll keep watch." Everyone likes Morris's plan, and they start working that very night. But the nail clipper was too small to dig the wall, and Morris had to apply a lot of force to use it, and Morris was having a lot of difficulty digging the wall. His hand even got blisters, but he slowly starts digging that hole. The next day at the dining table, he tells his friends that he needs a bigger tool for digging. It's very difficult to dig the wall with a nail clipper. Then Morris, looking at the spoon in his hand, gets an idea. He deliberately rubs the spoon on his shoe to make it dirty. After that, Morris called the guard and said, "This spoon is dirty. Give me another spoon." Others also requested the guard to change their spoons. The guard didn't see anything wrong with this and immediately gave permission to change the spoons. After which he moves straight toward the table where another security guard is sitting. But as soon as he starts changing the spoons kept on the table, John engages the guard present there in conversation. Taking advantage of this, Morris picks up two spoons instead of one and hides one in his pocket, after which he goes straight to his cell. At night, English comes to give him a book, and Morris asks, "Will I find any welding equipment here?" English understands that Morris still has the ghost of escaping from prison on his mind. He says, "I've already told you that your effort will be wasted because you'll be caught and might even lose your life. In all these years, I never thought of escaping because I know it's impossible. But if you're stubborn, what can I do? Try it." But the warning has no effect on Morris. The next day, he asks Litmus for matches and says, "If you help me, I'll give your mouse my share of food every day." Litmus happily agrees to this deal because Litmus loved the mouse very much. That very night, Litmus passes matches to Morris. Morris removes one handle of the nail clipper, from which he's going to make a small shovel. Then he breaks the spoon and attaches it to the nail clipper handle. Then, striking matches, he welds both together properly and makes a sharp tool. Then what? He starts digging around the vent. Charlie keeps watch. If any guard comes that way, he'll immediately whistle to signal Morris. But while keeping watch, Charlie falls asleep, and then a guard comes there. But luckily, at that moment, English came in between and distracted that guard, and on the other side, hearing English's conversation, Charlie also woke up, but in tension he can't whistle either, after which he drops something. So Morris, understanding his signal, covers the vent and lies on the bed. The guard asks, "There's a burning smell here." Morris says, "Sir, with you here, who would dare smoke? I don't smell anything." That guard is also satisfied that at least someone values him. As soon as he leaves, Morris removes the concrete around the vent, but he sees that screws are also fitted with the ventilation grill, which will need some sharp tool to cut. During this time, whenever Morris gets a chance to go outside, he quietly throws out the cement removed from the grill. The next day, while doing carpentry work, he picks up a piece of metal that's sharp like a knife. But Charlie tells him, "How will you take this out while avoiding the metal detector?" Morris says very confidently, "I'll see to all that." When Morris goes outside, the metal detector at the door starts beeping. Actually, Morris had brought the metal in his hand. The guard asks, "Why are you taking this?" Morris says, "Sir, I thought I'd use it to hang clothes." The guard says, "Don't try to be too smart and give it to me." Saying this, the guard takes that metal from him and after thoroughly checking Morris, lets him go. But our hero is a hero. Actually, he had stolen two pieces of metal. He brought one in his hand and hid the other in his shoe. With that sharp metal, he cuts the grill. Now comes the turn to make fake heads to fool the guards. For this, all four do their responsible work. Charlie gets some paint from the guard. He tells the guard he's fond of making art. The guard doesn't refuse and brings paint and gives it to him. Morris grinds the concrete removed from the hole into a powder. John collects hair from the barber's shop, and Clarence collects old books from the library. After all the materials are gathered, Morris starts making a dummy head using water and old magazines, applying paint and fake hair on top to make a fake head that looks completely real. Along with this, Morris made fake cardboard to strengthen his plan further, so no one would suspect that someone has made a tunnel in the front wall. One night, Morris decided to go up alone. For this, he placed his made fake skull on the bed and covered it up to the neck with a blanket. After which, taking the fake cardboard, he comes out through the tunnel. There, Morris grabs the pipes and slowly climbs up to the roof. On the other side, Charlie is keeping watch outside. After reaching the roof, Morris sees that there's an iron grill above, which he can't reach even by jumping. Meanwhile, a guard comes and asks Charlie, "Why are you painting so late at night? And why did your friend Morris sleep so early today?" Charlie says, "Yes, sir, today Morris got tired doing carpentry work, so he slept early." Then suddenly the guard's baton falls down. While picking it up, he sees that Morris's hair looks very strange. Now Charlie starts trembling with fear that today we're done for. The guard puts his hand inside Morris's cell and touches his hair. Then Morris asks, "What happened, sir? Are my hair that beautiful?" Luckily, at that moment, Morris had come down and lay there. The next day, Morris tells his companions that there's a way on the roof, but it's bound with a grill, and that grill is at a great height. "I need another companion's help." Then John says, "I've completely dug my vent. Tonight I'll also reach there. Together we'll open the grill." That night, Morris and John reach the roof through their vents. John lifts Morris, and Morris grabs the grill. John sees that this iron grill is very strong and has been completely welded. There's only one way to remove it, and that's to cut it with a drill machine. The next day in music class, everyone is playing their instrument of choice. Then Morris's eyes fall on a small fan kept there. Seeing it, Morris thinks he can work on it and make a drill machine, for which he tells Charlie, "Somehow hide this fan from here." Charlie very easily hides this small fan in his instrument box. When Charlie comes out, the guards check his instrument box too, but they don't see the fan, and Charlie's allowed to go. As soon as that fan reaches Morris's hands, Morris starts working on it, and after many hours, Morris makes a drill machine from that fan. That night, Morris and Charlie climb onto the roof and start cutting that iron rod with the drill machine. The drill machine's sound was quite loud, and hearing the drilling sound, the guards start coming up. But by then, Morris cuts one rod of the grill, and the drilling sound stops. After the drilling sound stops, the guard ignores it and goes back. Now these four had opened all their paths to escape, after which they were going to escape on Tuesday night from the world's most secure prison, Alcatraz, from which no one had escaped until now. The next day they have another meeting, and that too in the movie hall, where everyone is watching a movie. Amidst the movie's sound, Morris asks John and Clarence, "Is your vent ready? And what about those raincoats we were going to make tubes and life jackets from?" They say everything is ready. "Our dummy heads are also completely ready. We just need to escape." The next morning during breakfast, Morris placed the flower given by Doc on the table. When the warden saw this flower, the warden came to their table and crushed the flower kept there. Seeing this makes Litmus very angry because this flower was Doc's favorite and Doc was dead. Litmus attacks him in anger. "First you killed Doc, and on the other hand, you're not even leaving one small memento he gave." But as soon as he attacks the warden, he suddenly has a heart attack and falls down. Morris gets very angry at the warden, and all four decide to escape that very night. Morris is waiting for midnight so that the guard's watch becomes a bit weaker and they can escape easily. Then in Morris's cell, English gives him some books. So Morris says, "I want to shake hands with you for the last time." English understands that Morris has made a solid plan to escape from here. He quietly leaves from there. But then what happens is something Morris hadn't thought of at all. The warden suddenly comes to check his cell. Morris gets very nervous because, after months of hard work, his effort was about to be wasted. The warden orders every corner of Morris's cell to be checked. The guard checks every single thing in Morris's cell. But Morris wasn't just any ordinary prisoner who had made some small plan. Rather, he had made a completely clean and perfect plan that not even the warden, but even the warden's grandfather couldn't catch. So much so that when the guard moved the suitcase from that very spot where Morris had made a tunnel and escape route by digging, even there Morris wasn't caught because he had already made fake cardboard and fitted it very precisely into the wall. When nothing is found there, the warden and guard leave. But the guard says that Morris and Charlie keep talking all night. "Something seems fishy to me." The warden says, "All right, tomorrow change Morris's cell so those two won't stay together, nor will they be able to talk." The next day at breakfast time, Wolf again threatens Morris and tells Morris, "Tonight will be your last night." Morris tells his companions, "This donkey is right. Tonight will indeed be my last night here." But in the afternoon itself, Wolf goes to attack Morris with a knife. Then English comes in between and grabs Wolf. Actually, English also wants to help Morris. Whether he succeeds or not, English wants to help Morris in his work. That night, Morris, John, Clarence, and Charlie decided to come out through their vent routes and meet on the roof above. Here, Charlie agrees to escape with his companions. But then as soon as he reaches his cell, he starts getting nervous. Sitting alone in the cell, he decided not to be part of the plan, and his other three companions come out through their vent routes and reach the roof above. The three of them wait for Charlie for quite a while, but after a lot of time passes, when they feel Charlie won't come, they decide to leave without Charlie. The three of them start moving forward according to their plan. But here, before Charlie's eyes, his dream of freedom was slipping away. The three of them slowly, hiding from the searchlight, start escaping. Like this, hiding and sneaking, they reach the end of the building. Then sitting in his cell, Charlie gets courage in his heart, and he also decides to escape. He comes out through his vent route and reaches the roof above. But now it was too late because alone he couldn't reach that door above, meaning he lost his chance at freedom due to fear. On the other side, the three of them hang from pipes on the roof and come down to the ground. And avoiding the eyes of the security guards sitting in the tower, they reach the prison's final wall, and then all three climb over that fence wall one by one and get out of the prison. Now the three of them run quickly and come to the edge of the ocean. Then the three of them take out the raincoats and start filling them with air through their mouths. Filling them by mouth was taking them quite a lot of time, but they had no other option. That's why the three of them, putting in all their effort, somehow finally inflate the tube boat made from raincoats and put the boat in the water. In this way, these three, ruining Alcatraz's reputation, escape. The next morning, a guard is checking every cell. In the beginning, everything looks normal to the guard. But when they reach Charlie, Charlie is standing in his cell like a ghost, taunting himself in his heart. "If only I had gathered a little courage last night. Maybe I could have escaped with the others." The guard asks, "Why is your friend sleeping for so long?" Saying this, he goes into Morris's cell and calls out to him. But there's no response from Morris's side, so the guard gets angry and opens the cell and tries to pull him up by his hair. But when the guard pulls him up forcefully, the head falls down. Seeing this, the ground beneath the guard's feet slipped away, because Morris was now not in the cell, but enjoying the outside world. He had left his dummy head on the bed, after which sirens start blaring throughout Alcatraz. The word spread throughout the prison that some prisoners have escaped from the jail. After which the warden starts searching for those three in every corner of the prison. When those three aren't found inside the prison, the warden launches a search operation in the ocean. The warden can't believe that those three escaped. He thinks they must have died in the water. But deep down, the warden knew that those three were very strong. Those three must have crossed the ocean water and were now breathing freedom. The headquarters officers are questioning the warden one after another. "Were you sleeping when those three escaped?" The warden is very tense. But then the warden finds Doc's favorite flower there. This meant that Morris also wanted to take revenge for Doc from the warden. Then the head of the search team comes and says, "Sir, we've searched everywhere, but their bodies weren't found." Now, to save his job and his own image, the warden tells him, "Write the report as I say. Write that those three tried to escape, but all three drowned and died in the water." But no one believed the warden's words. After which, Morris became famous throughout the world as a genius for breaking out of Alcatraz prison. 1 year after this incident, Alcatraz prison was shut down because now there was no guarantee that no one could escape from here. In this way, this film based on a true story comes to an end.